Great.
I think the obviously Friendship Heights retail has gone through a tough patch, uh, and it'll be nice when a lot of these empty buildings, some of which are on the DC side, of course, are redeveloped and there's more life and retail that comes back. That'll be a nice thing. Anyway.
All right, if I can jump in.
Please.
Okay, one thing that comes to mind, um, I saw a notice about your last meeting, which was down in an area that it talked about sports facilities and a pool and so forth. I've never seen that place.
Right.
I have no idea where that is. And I've been living in this area for 4 years. I don't know how these things become more available to people in the area. We are going to have a larger population and probably a more diverse population with more renters with some of the new buildings. Another thing that I would think would be useful to have available or some sort of a library or something like a library. We go back to our old neighborhood in DC on Connecticut Avenue to that library, which is a good long walk, but my wife likes to do it. But it'd be nice to consider a library in this area. I think there's not much for kids to do. The connection has a few things on a weekend. We've seen ice cream trucks from time to time. But in general, there's not much when we have our grandkids here. There's not much for them to do where we can take them in the neighborhood. I'll stop there.
Okay. Do others, who else wants to share? Will, do you have any thoughts on Friendship Heights? Oh, you're on
Oh,
mute.
you're on mute.
Hey guys, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thanks. My name's Will. Nice to meet everyone. Um, in terms of the area, I've loved it, grew up right around it. I think there's a lot of potential. I think it's, definitely true that sometimes it does feel pretty car heavy. And that's kind of a shame. And, to sort of to John's point, when you're thinking about kind of as a kid and what there is to do around the area, a lot of it is not so much in the area, rather in DC. So you kind of find yourself heading out of exactly where you live. Um, But yeah, just curious to hear what you guys think and have planned.
Thanks. Um, I'll add that I live very close to Friendship Heights. I also grew up in the area, so and kind of I think Friendship Heights was like the one of the closest places that I could walk to that I could like walk to by myself. When I was like a preteen, and then a little bit older, I go with my sister. And there it was like a place you could go and like hang out for like long periods of time. Like especially when the pavilion opened. And I don't necessarily think it has that same like kind of stay quality right now. So I'm looking forward to, having more places where again, like kids want to be and people want to be and where you feel like can kind of spend like a full day.
Yeah, and I think that's what you get in Bethesda, not so much Friendship Heights.
Hmm. Oh, Trisha, I saw you came off mute. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Sorry, are you speaking to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I would really look forward to if there's any development here in the area is having some good
Hmm.
restaurants, more diversity, more activity than what's available. I mean, this summer we had one local restaurant here closed for lunches because business was so poor.
Mhm.
That really took me by surprise. And we really don't have very much assortment of good quality. If you want hamburgers and pizza, there are a lot, but we need a little more than that.
One thing I'm curious about, Darcy, is the mix of retail, specifically kind of around the collection, the really high-end luxury stores, and why that makes sense to be right where it is. I understand, it's next to where, a lot of, more well-off people might be, but it seems like that's not something or a store that someone would go to every day, and kind of how that makes sense for them, sort of from the retailer's perspective, and then also, from the resident's perspective, uh, why is that the best use for sort of the retail spaces?
Mm.
Sure. I mean, I'll let Alex chime in too if he has thoughts on it. I do know, before there used to be a lot more like luxury brands there, and I think like it wasn't necessarily the best spot. I know like when City Center opened in particular, a lot of them then moved downtown where it kind of made more sense to have those businesses. Um, so I think we've kind of already seen like a bunch of those businesses leave that area. And I think it's more of like them trying to figure out what else goes like in its place.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. You have seen a lot of additional supply areas that have kind of taken that high-end retail market. I think you've also seen a little bit of a demographic story driving that as well. The residents in the area have generally gotten older, and they're no longer in their prime working and spending years. And so that activity has sort of gone to other places where that demographic is there or is accessible. So, yep. Do we have any others who would like
Yeah,
to share
I
on
was
this?
going to add some things. It seems to me that the one thing the area has and will continue to have is medical facilities that attract a lot of people. Most of the people who come here from outside come for the medical facilities. There are drugstores close by, so they can take advantage of those before they leave the area if they need to. But I don't know if there are other things that would be useful for both the staff of these medical facilities in terms of what they do during their lunch hours and after hours. But there's really no place to hang out for younger people. You used to be able to go over to Mazda or across the street from Mazda, and you had Starbucks and other places where you could hang out. You had a movie theater. We certainly could use a movie theater. That's definitely something a lot of people want back here. I'm not sure what's going to go into those two units, mostly housing, but I think there are going to be some other facilities that could be available for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm in Friendship Heights, like, I mean, for like medical appointments, I mean, just so often with my kids or myself, it's, it feels like weekly just for a medical purpose. But it's definitely a happening medical place.
So I'll throw out a whole collection of ideas if that's okay.
Great. Yes, please.
So first of all, I'll just start. I love Friendship Heights, and it's really, I feel so fortunate that I live and work in Friendship Heights, and hardly ever get in a car, and I realize I'm among the luckiest people on the planet because of that. That said, the things I wish, I think earlier comment about restaurants, as a vegetarian, I'm out of luck in Friendship Heights. And so I'm regularly going to Bethesda or going downtown. There's kind of a lack of variety there. I miss having a gym. I know WSC used to be over in the Chevy Chase Pavilion. If you want, I guess you can go up to Crunch, but that's a bit further. The St. James and Bethesda is not exactly right. So something along those lines. I don't know if any of the apartment buildings or if the courtyard would ever open up their swimming pool to community members, but right now the Bethesda pool, which is the closest public pool, is oversubscribed and just not able to meet the demands of the local community. I love the rec center at Friendship Heights, but again, it's another one of those things that I think it's not probably optimized in terms of utilization. People either don't know about it. It seems like when I go there, it's not very busy, but I hear about demand for pickleball and I would love, more. So I think that's another kind of real amenity space that has potential that could really do more. And then as a walker, and I think this was mentioned earlier, I love my bikers, but the bikers have got to get off the sidewalk. And I God bless them. I wouldn't want to be on Wisconsin Avenue either because I know it's a real problem because that's so busy and because of the medical buildings that essentially has become a parking lane and a drop-off lane. So I don't know what the solution is, but that's a challenge. That'd be great if we could try and address.
Thank you. I just saw a broadcast come across that apparently we were supposed to have gone on to the next question. So we're going to go on to the next question and continue the conversation. Alex, if you could go to the next slide. But I loved all those contributions to question 1, and we have another question where we talk about good stuff again. But now we get to what are you most worried or concerned about as we launch into the sector plan?
Can I jump in here?
Please.
So what I'm worried about is like the building that's going up where the Marriott is, which I believe has gone through part of the approval process. I don't know if it's finally approved. I forget what that's called. But it's, I get the idea of smart growth, that the planning, you want to have the density in walking distance to metro stops. I totally support that. But what I worry about is middle class America, that presumes that there's going to be a lot of people who don't have cars and are just going to walk to public transportation. And I do that. I walk and bike and take metro and take buses and all that stuff and try to use my car as little as possible. But I know middle class Americans, unless they grow up in like New York or downtown DC, they're going to have cars. And so I don't know how the Friendship Heights streets support the traffic that will be entailed by a whole new, bigger building coming. And then that's just the first one. I understand there's several other developments planned, whether on the Maryland side or the DC side in Friendship Heights. And I just imagine the traffic, which is already bad, is going to become a complete nightmare. Anyway, sorry.
Thank you. Others have concerns or worries or just things that they're apprehensive about or questioning. Trisha, did you want to say something? I saw your box light up.
No, I'm sorry. I'm fine.
Okay, cool.
I think I have the same concern we all do, though, about increased traffic.
Yep.
That it's simple, straightforward. It's a fact. And what can we do to ameliorate it? Or make the most of it or something.
Sorry.
On one hand, I'm telling you, we don't have decent restaurants or a movie theater or things to do, not just for kids, but for adults.
Yes.
And on the negative side, we're saying we all are anticipating, unbelievable traffic growth.
Sorry, I know I already spoke, but one other thing I worry a lot about is what's going to happen with the Geico property, and will that be like overdeveloped, or will they try to do like townhouses and parks so it's not insane? But anything you guys know about that would be really interesting, I think.
Yeah. I think, Tara can go into details on it, but and I think she will. I saw someone ask a question about it, but my understanding is that right now Geico has kind of said that they're waiting to see where the plan goes. And they haven't come out and said that they haven't, indicated that they haven't indicated anything specific that they're interested in that they're thinking about for the site. There is like an approval on the site that was approved many years ago that has been extended, but it expires in a couple of years. And they haven't indicated one way or another what they're planning to do with that approval or if they wanted to change it.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Just as a success story, my daughter has lived near the old Walter Reed facility that has been developed really nicely.
Yeah.
People like it very much. There's still a lot of green space. There's certainly there's good shopping. There's a lot of things for kids to do. They have events there. It's a very good success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went on like a field trip there maybe a couple months ago with a group of people from work. It's really nice. Great. It's an interesting development. All right. I think we can go on to question 3, but if someone thinks of another concern, they're welcome to bring it up at any time. Question 3 is, what makes Friendship Heights different from the other neighborhoods around it? And what about Friendship Heights do you hope will be preserved in the future?
Medical.
Yes.
I think the medical facilities are different from any other place. Do we know?
Absolutely.
I kind of like that it's not like Bethesda, that it's quieter. That's just me.
Yeah.
Mm. 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 Mm.
One thing we had other people mention was that, it's such a transit hub because you're right, like on top of a metro station. Plus you have, both WMATA buses and ride-on buses.
Mm.
Absolutely. And the walkability.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Okay.
I'll
If you
just
want to
mention
go.
that I think
Oh,
that
yes.
the Village Center is really terrific and they offer some great programming and when I remember to pay attention to what's going on over there, I'm always grateful for what they are able to provide.
Yes.
Thanks for saying that, Melanie. I totally agree with that too.
Will, did you have anything you wanted to add to this one?
Oh no, I apologize. Just misclicked.
Okay, Alex, if you want to move to the 4th one. This one's kind of fun. Are there other communities in the area that are good models or that offer lessons learned for Friendship Heights? So this can either be a place that, Friendship Heights could be like, or it could just be it doesn't have to be, it should be identical to, I don't know, Vienna, but there could be something about Vienna. That was just random, but there could be something about Vienna that, appeals to you that you would like to see in Friendship Heights or it could be something that you don't like about a place that you wouldn't want to see in Friendship Heights.
Well, I'm a big fan of BUP and what they do in Bethesda. And one thing in particular is just how clean they keep it. And I'll just, and this is, I know it's just my own little pet peeve, but walking by the Gap and Banana Republic, it is always just hard to walk because of the trash and the leaves. And so I would love to see a little bit more attention to sidewalk maintenance and just cleanliness.
Yep.
Mm. Mm.
others have places they've been or visited either here or elsewhere where you've seen things that you like and you're like, oh, I like that in my community.
Mm. Mm.
One of the things that I like about the Connecticut Avenue corridor nearby where we used to live is you have a movie theater and many people, including us still, we go there to go to a movie and then we go out to dinner afterwards, or we go to dinner before, depending on which show we want to go to. But it's a great place to bring friends and neighbors together. And there are a number of restaurants right within a block or 2 blocks that you can go to that are inexpensive, relatively inexpensive.